Toonami's been around for a long time, and in its current form on Adult Swim, it's lasted longer than I've ever thought it would. But I'm always going to be a bit annoyed with discourse surrounding show pickups and the schedule. Now, I'm not going to say that simply dreaming that a show pops up on Toonami is bad, but with the current circumstances that we're in, and pickups and drops and surprise legacy programs showing up, more people are worried about the future of Toonami and what shows they're going to be watching. And I don't know. I kind of want to get into that right now, so let's go. Now, I know Toonami isn't just made for people who are Toonami fans, but I feel like people who are fans of Toonami as a whole, and not simply the shows that they air, are able to appreciate and know what to expect when the people behind the scenes make certain choices, you know what I mean? Like, the biggest thing is that I've had people wonder why they don't show subs on Toonami, but despite the fact that they've addressed why in the Q&A a couple years ago, and aired that Q&A on TV, they had an April Fool's event, which was fun, but I don't think did great in the ratings overall. Like, it was a backdoor pilot for Fully Cooley 2 and 3, but still, I don't know. It kind of proved the point that the normie fan base, wouldn't tune in to subbed anime. And for certain reasons, people just want to see it dubbed. It's not like you can't see it subbed, but, maybe I'm off track with that. I don't know, just like, to me, it's always annoying that people have, like, their own vision of what Toonami should be, and anything that goes against this vision is just bad. What goes without saying is that anyone who wants Toonami to be just like it was in the 90s is living in the past. No. Gotta get over it. Move on. Toonami is never going to be in the daytime again. It's not going to show on Cartoon Network again. It's not going to have Ronin Warriors or OG Sailor Moon or anything like that. First off, a lot of these shows are streaming, and if not, and assuming they're not already licensed, you could probably find them readily available with your local torrent site. Heck, you'll probably do other stuff that is licensed, but, that's not really my position to judge. You do you. But either way, you can find other ways to watch these shows. But these shows, assuming that they would fit in with today's youth demographic and they would find a way onto mainline Cartoon Network schedule, they'd be cut to pieces because of the Y7 rating. This isn't like 2007. Like, I know, like, 90s kids will say, the amount of stuff that Dragon Ball Z was able to get away with. And while, yeah, that is true, but I feel like for someone my age, I think that what really sinks in is the fact that we had Naruto reruns, like, after school. It wasn't necessarily a part of Maguzi, if I remember correctly. They didn't have, like, Maguzi bumpers. But they did air it, like, right after Maguzi, like, ended, and it was, like, DVPG, and, like, Naruto on Cartoon Network wasn't necessarily uncut, but it did show a surprising amount of violence, and I guess that's why a lot of shows that were on Toonami during that time, were kind of inconsistent with what they could and couldn't get away with. So it led to a bit of whiplash. You had stuff like this, and then you had 4Kids One Piece, and I think the other thing with people, like, requesting shows is that you get people who are kind of tone deaf and end up requesting a show that either already aired or is airing, like, right now, like something like Megalobox or like Parasite. I've seen people request those shows, and I'm like, nigga, where were you a couple years ago, a couple months ago, you know what I mean? It's surprising because, Toonami isn't niche. People really think that, there's no way that people would actually want to use their TV to watch anime, but I mean, it trends on not daily, but, weekly. But I think at the end of the day, and this is also something I touched on in the previous video, was that people want variety. People want, like, the hottest stuff, but, not everything, assuming it's available, assume it's available for him to pick up, not everything will be picked up for a Toonami demographic. You know, I feel like people who like anime will watch Toonami, but I feel like people who actually are into the know and know what to expect from Toonami, some of them are perfectly okay with what Toonami airs because they know what to expect. Other people are more into anime as a whole, and they probably want Toonami to pick up some more obscure pieces, some stuff that may complement the block, but those people are just more into anime as a whole. No, I guess that's why they have like higher expectations for it. Some people are just fine with what they know, and it's why we have shows like Dragon Ball, Attack on Titan, and My Hero, maybe even One Punch. You know, when they do marathons of these, you know, they always get good ratings. It's a good standby. People know Dragon Ball. You know, it ascended past anime. It's almost socially acceptable to like it. But with the expectation, I think that a lot of people have gotten, I mean, entitled is a strong word, but I feel like they've also forgotten the fact that Toonami has always been a better cartoon show. You know, there isn't much Western animation exclusively for adults that they can pick up, but Toonami has never just shown exclusively anime. You know, like, the whole block, it started being hosted by Moltar from Space Ghost. You know, we had Thundercats, we had Cartoon Roulette, we had Flash Era Superman, or I think that's the right era. We had Cartoon Roulette. And later in the Tom 2 era, we had like Static Shock. We probably got like most of the, I don't want to say Static Shock. We had like most of the DCAU show. We had Superman animated, Batman animated, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited. We even got the Batman later on. So it's like, Toonami's been no stranger to Western animation. No, and I don't know. There was this like little niche experimental art house show created by some nobody named Gendy Tartakovsky, you know, called Samurai Jack, you know, which was extremely popular and got plays outside Toonami and on Toonami. You know, same with, you know, Powerpuff Girls, you know, that's niche. And yeah, it's like, of course, like, no one's gonna gel with everything that's on Toonami. And there are some shows that I just don't have an opinion on because, you know, I haven't had the time to watch them. But, you know, I respect everything that's there. You know, like stuff like Genlock, you know, I wasn't there for it, but people who I've talked to who have watched it, you know, they spoke very highly of it. And, I mean, for my pipe dream, it's obvious that, you know, if subbed anime went that downhill, and if normies really didn't like Samuel and me, you know, that's a pretty big sign that, you know, Toonami would never air tokusatsu, or at least in America, if you catch my drift. But, I don't know. I feel like there shouldn't really be a controversy of Ballmasters being on Toonami. And I think that's where we're really, yeah, I think that's where we're really at the crux of the problem. Look, if you just simply like JoJo, no, I'm not talking to you, because I like JoJo. You know, like, JoJo being popular isn't a bad thing. I mean, I know there will always be, like, old heads who kind of lament the olden days, and I guess to some extent I see where they're coming from, because, like, everything, especially in this, like, modern internet climate, has been, if you want to be popular, your stuff has to be like super memeified and something, you know. There's always like Giorno's theme, you know, like in my YouTube recommendations or something, even if I haven't been watching JoJo related videos. And there was just like a lot more stuff that had like a bit more nuance to discussion, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna say the way you're consuming things is wrong. I feel like when you have someone that's completely uninitiated, they'll just say what they see, and I feel like I feel like people who were already somewhat familiar with JoJo were frustrated when JoJo got on Toonami. And I'm kind of in that camp. Not to say that JoJo on Toonami was bad, but it got people who weren't exposed to it before into it. And while getting people into new things is good, when you see the tweets that they make, and getting to blind assumptions, and thus regurgitating memes without context, it gets frustrating. Like, I don't know, like people comparing Dio to Trump, or saying that part 1 is slow and boring, and you just want it to get to the part that's good with the stands and everything, and or muda muda, and it's like, it's like stuff it's good and you can make memes of it, but the show itself is not a meme. You shouldn't really be saying stuff. It's like, oh, the best part's the ending because I like Roundabout, but not really because I think it's a cool ending, or it's like it's very very kind of odd to hear like a prog rock song in anime. No, I just like it for the meme. And I think people are getting into something for the meme. I think that might be why JoJo getting replaced by Ballmasters in itself is causing people who are really passionate about JoJo to not really dig this. Because you already have people who think Toonami should just be, anime. Because that's probably all they know. They jumped on with the Adult Swim era, and there wasn't a lot of Western animation that showed on Adult Swim Toonami. We had a couple, but we didn't have a lot. We had Thundercats, we had Clone Wars, we had Beware the Batman, we had Samurai Jack, obviously, and now we got Ballmasters. And it's like, Ballmasters is like very good. It's like someone took the radical sports action of IGPX and mixed it with, obviously Super Jail, but you have like the anime references and just like the ambitious art style of OKKO, just like throwing all that in a blender. And plus, it's made by Titmouse, okay? Like, they made Megas XLR, like the Western show. When I think of Toonami and Western animation, and you're not bringing up Gang Tartakovsky, Megas is a show that I think of. So I think Ballmasters is probably the closest we'll ever realistically get to Megas being back. And I'm just glad we're in a position where we can have original animation, let alone Western animation on the block. So I feel like this is fine, like Megas in of itself was like a loving parody and homage to anime, but it was admittedly a bit more subtle, having that like urban, suburban, mid-2000s grungy aesthetic, and it definitely didn't take itself as seriously. And Motor City on Disney XD, on the other hand, I felt like that was like more original and had like that similar grunge aesthetic, but it definitely in itself was more serious. Not to say that it was like taking itself too seriously. In general, I can just say that I think Ballmasters is like the perfect marriage between the off-kilter humor that Megas brought us, and I guess like more of the grungy artistic ambition and the serious tone and the overarching story that Motor City brought us, all with that Adult Swim weirdness. I think you know the kind, you know it when you see it, but it's very tough to put into words, but you know what it is, something that you can only see on Adult Swim. And I think that's great. It's great that something like this is on Toonami. It's already gotten some really good promotion from Adult Swim proper, with a rerun. We had like a whole season rerun a couple weeks ago. The fact that we got a second season for Ballmasters is just a miracle in of itself. And I'm just very glad that, it's caught an audience. So I think that there might be a divide where there are just like some Toonami fans that aren't necessarily Adult Swim fans. But I don't know. I feel like people forget that Toonami isn't just an anime blog. There just isn't a lot of Western animation for adults that is suitable for Toonami. Even though we had Samurai Jack Season 5, it was Gendy who didn't want Primal on Toonami. And yeah, I was able to find success outside of that. But I don't really think that there's a spot where, like, Western animation, that has like a more slant on action could fit. Like Ballmasters is like Ballmasters is in a unique position where it could stand alone, but it also makes a great fit on Toonami. But I feel like if there are like other shows, like I don't see any other show except like maybe like Korgoth, if we ever got that, to be a great fit for Toonami. But like any other Adult Swim original, there's just like comedy or something that's very off kilter. Even Rick and Morty, it has drama, it has action, it has stakes, but it's not a Toonami show. You have to have a right amount of that Adult Swim weirdness to be eligible to be an Adult Swim show. You know what I mean? And for Western animation, like you can embrace that Western. And you can embrace that Adult Swim weirdness, but if you don't have enough action, building a better cartoon show energy, for lack of better words, you wouldn't really be in a position where you can say you're Toonami. Even Boondocks, I would say, would really be a good fit for Toonami, because it, I don't know, I guess kind of perpetrates that people just call the black anime for the fights and the power scale between like Ruckus and Stinkmean or whatever the hell. I mean, that's funny, but also not the point, but that's another tangent. And I don't know, I think like the schedule is always going to be a source of contention with a lot of people. And contrary to what I've been saying, there definitely are things that people can really complain about. Like, well, complain might be a strong word, but, stuff that people can criticize, I guess. For me, I skipped out on watching Mob Psycho Season 2 on any platform, even the not so reputable ones, because I just assumed that it had done good on Toonami and eventually that we would see it on Toonami. That never happened. I was fine with Dragon Ball Z Kai, the final chapters, finally coming stateside on Toonami, and I wanted to watch Dragon Ball Super, because, I personally would not want to watch it subbed on Facebook, because apparently, to normies that just really don't want to, like, download their anime, that's, like, a very popular way. I never got that, like, just go on a Kiss anime. I'm not endorsing it, but it's like, if you're gonna do it, there are better ways to do it. Even if it's not legal, like, I don't know, it's like you have all these sites, like, in spite of their legality, and you like choose to like watch a very accessible show on those like 24-hour YouTube streams. Like, what are you doing? But I don't know, again, tangent. It's just like that back to back kind of bummed me out, because it was very hard to keep track of 2 Dragon Ball shows at the same time, and I wondered, maybe we could have gotten like one later down the line, like maybe like hold on to it. But since there is a already established demographic who just wants Dragon Ball, you gotta hold them in somehow, you know what I mean? Like, Sandwell and Me would have gotten completely overshadowed if not for the fact that came, to my knowledge, if it came before DBZ Kai final chapters. And that's a bummer, because I did like Sandwell and Me, but, it's not going to gel for everybody either. So that's just something that, I had to accept. I feel like the biggest source of contention with the schedule, or programming, whatever you want to call it, is One Piece. I've seen a lot of people over time just ask, why don't show One Piece? Why don't you like One Piece? You guys just hate One Piece. And simply, it's really just more like people weren't tuning in. Maybe you were, but the demographic of people who watches anime on Toonami were not able to really gel with One Piece. And I think that's really the after effect of the 4Kids effect. Like, regardless of your opinion on the 4Kids dub, the dub itself has really been like a talking point, not just for people to dunk on dubs in general, but the One Piece dub. Like, even the current form, people like will avoid it because it's not subbed, you know. And I'm not even just saying that, you know, you don't like the voices or direction or whatever, because it very much is faithful. You know, modern dubs are faithful. You know, they treat source material with more respect. But either way, people will just prefer the dub just due to misconceptions or biases that, I mean, people have the right to have opinions, but when it's found on a bias that's filled with misinformation, that's where it gets iffy. But the fact is that the dub really soiled the opinion on One Piece and really didn't give itself a proper chance to soar in the West. If you remember, initially on Toonami, they showed the 4Kids dub, and when that run ended, we got the Funimation episodes. No, initially, these TV dubs were done with very light censorship and with the 4Kids names for the sake of consistency. But then, you know, we just got like the uncut releases straight to DVD or online, and then we just had the original names and the original openings and all that. So everyone wins. But, you know, in between Toonami ending and when One Piece came back, you know, for people who just were not in the know with One Piece, no, there was no real proper way for them to like jump back in. I think like even the promotional material that Toonami did, I think even in that One Piece shanty, they did Steve Bloom the pirate accent, if I remember. It was funny. But if I remember correctly, it was more like they even suggested you go onto their website and catch up. And I'm like, not everyone really has that time. Or is able to binge shows. Like for me, even if a show is short where I could watch it in like a day, unless I'm really motivated and have time, I'm just not able to watch all of it. And that is a bummer, but you know, some people are just used to the way that TV drip feeds us shows, and you know, Toonami has evidently shown this system still works, it still has merit, so as long as it continues to pull the numbers and trend, you know, we're good. But One Piece just grew too big, and it's not even a complete story, and Toonami doesn't skip filler. I feel like the thing with One Piece they did was only just because they knew they couldn't air everything, and you know, didn't want to like go even slower pace. But you know, it is a shame that, you know, it had to come to an end. I will say, even though I am not a fan, I do respect One Piece and its fans, and I still try to get into it through watching the encore slots that we had on Saturdays for a while. There was a time that it was new that Adult Swim was trying to see if the 8 p.m. time slot could be used towards anime. So I know we had Dragon Ball Z Kai reruns and One Piece reruns, and it was nice, but we did not have it last long for One Piece. So let's just say it like that. And I think, you know, I think that was probably already like a sign. And they held it out, you know, like the people behind Toonami do like One Piece, but it was obvious that, you know, it had to say goodbye. But I think that I respect One Piece fans, especially Toonami One Piece fans, because they made the One Piece Sales On hashtag, which was dedicated towards watching One Piece from the mere second that Toonami had canceled the show, in a sense, on their own time, like with their own platform or whatever, and then just communicating through that hashtag to share experiences. And, I think that's a good ending. Like, some shows are simply like too big for their own britches to really benefit from a weekly episode structure, broadcast wise. But, with the internet, you have convenience and you're able to come together like this. And I think that's good. There always going to be like some things that I wish Toonami did better. Heck, I still kind of wish that we had Panty and Stocking, back when, I really thought that was going to be on Toonami. I feel like that could have been like a hot thing that people didn't really expect. But, some things just don't turn out. We're not going to get a second season anyway, so there might not be a point. But, I've always stuck on with Toonami because you never really know what you're going to get. And I feel like eventually we will be getting some new stuff down the pipeline. We're going to get the Blade Runner. We're going to get Uzumaki. And I feel, at the very least, that these projects will have a... Hopefully these projects will have a higher reception than the anime community kind of hating Fully Coolies 2 and 3, to abbreviate their names. And I don't know, I feel like if you were already a Toonami fan, like, you liked them. But if you were an anime fan, you were most likely going to be more critical of it, or just see it as a single cash grab. And, I don't want to weigh into that since it's been a while since I saw either or. But, it's just something that I feel like, the anime community as a whole, separated from Toonami, can be cynical. And, sometimes it feels like even though we're all watching the same show, the same medium, despite the overlap, there's a different air with it. There's a different aura. And I feel like some of it may not ever be like, we might not ever have harmony. There's always going to be people that just prefer subs, who just think all dubs are shit. There's going to be people that feel like Toonami's just shonen trash, and bringing it back was a mistake. You even got some people that think that Toonami should just die so we can just have dedicated adultsome action. And I guess we're just progressively just going to dumb mentalities. I didn't realize that, but then, you had like people who like wanted Paranoia Agent to get shit ratings so he could get pushed to the end of the block, so we could have that adultsome action aesthetic. And, that's just like dumb, because it's not going to get pushed. It's going to get chucked off the block. But, that's regardless. I feel like I stick with Toonami because of the fact that we never really know what we're going to get. And it's fun to hypothesize. It's fun to want shows. It's fun to speculate. Like, I know it was a while where we thought ReZero was going to be on there. Like, I personally would have liked Sailor Moon Crystal to be on there, even if it had a new dub, which I know some 90s kids probably would have had a problem with. But, Sailor Moon was a staple of Toonami the same way that Dragon Ball and Thundercats were. And they all had their representation on the block in its older form, so I figured, why not? It would have been much more feasible than to air all 5 seasons of the original show. Or, I don't know, maybe they could have just picked up Sailor Stars, because, those are also new episodes that, most people probably haven't seen. I could see people not knowing that a whole 5th season of Sailor Moon actually existed. And that could make for some good headlines, and the show that censorship has gotten much, much less lenient. But it all depends. It all depends. Maybe one day we'll get it. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get like a Trigun remaster. Maybe not. Maybe we will finally get Yu Yu Hakusho on the block. That probably definitely won't happen because of its length. But, you really never know with these sorts of things. I just know what I know. And what I know is that Toonami still has quite a lot of steam in it. And I don't think it'll die, per se, anytime soon. We have had a good run, and I have fought for at least a year where I'm like, I don't want it to go, but if it had to go at this point, I would be satisfied because we were able to do a lot in a long time span. But, if we still get the ratings, we still get people talking, we still get the trends, then there's obviously an audience for this stuff. And I'm glad for that. I am glad to be a Toonami faithful. And I'll continue to be faithful for as long as Adult Swim is putting these shows out. But that's just it for me. Tell me what you think. This is a new format, definitely. And I am trying to output more content, trying to experiment with ways of delivering content. And I guess this could just be a way for you guys to really hear what I'm saying without having it to be a strictly edited affair. Because like editing things does take really long because I'm a perfectionist. With that, I will say thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and stay safe and love yourself. Love and peace.